Hello everyone, my name is Sok. I am a Masters player and I'm here today to review one of my girlfriend's videos. Her name is Shu and she is currently in Silver 1.
Hey.
So first to start, I apologize about any delays in videos that we have had. We got hit with a winter storm and that caused some delays with uploading of videos. Today we're just going to be reviewing one of the videos by Miss Shu with a pretty nice surprising ending at the end. So let's get started. So we can speed it up by a little.
Have an encounter at this one.
Yeah, so unfortunately there is no encounter. I would say these are probably my least favorite as you don't really have anything special to play around, but I guess that's also good because you can just play a very standard game. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It does make it a little more exciting when there is an encounter. So this isn't necessarily my favorite as well, but see how it goes.
Yeah, and you start with two very good characters in terms of providing direction. You have Kog'Maw, who is very good along with the bow that you just got, so that's a good way to go. You also have Twisted Fate, which is again a good quick striker that goes also well with the bow. The main thing that I will probably look for at this point are either watchers or more okay, I guess you got a watcher and a sniper, so that's nice. So I guess it's Kog'Maw. But assuming you got some more enforcers or quick strikers, Twisted Fate with a bow and a rod is also a very good start as well. Okay?
Yeah.
So here, you definitely want to make sure you pick up all of the watchers that you see to go along with your Mumu. Let's see if you do that or not. So no. That's okay. So you have some interesting choices. Talk me through what you're thinking right now.
So at this point, I mean, I got quite lucky with what I was given at first. Zeri, Kog'Maw, and there was an Amumu there who could add in Automata. And the Watcher sniper build is generally a pretty good one. So I'm not thinking doing Sentinel Emblem. At least in terms of my burn item, I'm not really thinking red buff. And I think I had considered long distance pals, but I didn't know if this would necessarily be the best just because in case I had someone maybe diagonal from Kog'Maw, I think that's a bit farther than like if Zeri would be from him. So I think I rolled all of these.
Sure. So I just want to add a few things about long distance pals. You could place Zeri on one side and Kog'Maw on the other side, and that could be long distance pal, which is good. Mm-hmm. The other thing that you could do is place your main tank, which is probably like Scar or Blitzcrank on one side, like maybe top left corner, and then place Kog'Maw on bottom right corner.
That's true.
And that way they buff each other up. Because the thing with this team, this Kog'Maw sniper team or Zeri sniper team, generally you have one really itemized tank and one really itemized sniper, okay? Whether it's Kog'Maw or Zeri.
Yeah.
So you can place the tank and the really itemized carry on opposite sides of the board and they'll make each other stronger, which is nice.
Yeah.
And then eventually at some point, you'll itemize both the Kog'Maw and the Zeri, and then you can make them the long distance pals. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, not necessarily saying this is the best augment to take, but I'm just letting you know how you could have played it, assuming you did take this augment, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe I do end up picking I picked Clockwork Accelerator just because I know Kog'Maw is a very speed-heavy character, so now I'm just going to town with itemizing. Here I think I'm just taking a chance to look at items for characters. I do end up putting the Static Shiv on Cog.
Okay, that's good. These are actually really good items. I would have actually placed the exact same items.
And I placed my belt on a Mumu for now, just so that it's being made use.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's all. That's all good. The main thing here is you could have also went for um, Ginsu's plus Shojin's,
That's true too.
but I actually think what you have right now is the best combo.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm happy about that. And the reason why it's the best combo is because Static Shiv, I believe, is either the best or the second best item on Cog, because he attacks so much. How
Yeah.
Static Shiv works is every 3 attacks, it does some damage. I think 135 damage. So
Yeah.
because of how much he attacks, it's a really good on him. Okay.
Yep.
And then the other thing is recently builds such as the one you're seeing right now have gotten really popular. What that build does is they're ambushers, and
Yeah.
they are aimed at killing your backline, and that will kill Cog a lot of times unless if he has lifesteal, and Hextag Gunblade gives him lifesteal, so that's very important for him as well.
Yeah, I know that's generally a good item for him. So once I saw the sword and rod, that was my first thought to do that. But it is true that Ginsu and Shojin could have also been made. So
Ye-
here I'm just taking a look at the academy items. I don't think they're particularly useful for what I wanted, in this game.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I picked up the Maddie as well, just in case maybe I wanted more snipers. And generally, I'm just staying above 10 gold, as you can see.
Yeah, I think that looks good.
I'm against a Ken Baron guy right now.
Yeah. So I want to talk about one thing that's became very popular recently, and that's Smeech reroll. So you see how you're facing a Smeech?
Yeah, I've seen on MetaTFT there's like a Ambusher Smeech, I think, game right now that's pretty popular, which looks interesting.
Also, before we talk about Smeech, so right now you have 12 gold, okay?
Yes.
One thing you could have done is just Soldier Lux and Soldier Maddie, and you could have pre-leveled to level 5. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that way you would have had better odds on the next round.
Yeah. And oh yeah, you see I pick up a Scar.
Yeah, that's good.
And actually for the time being just put him over Darius. I do sell him for now, but I do get him back later. As I remember I need to do I do want 6 watchers in this game.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
fine.
get him back later, just so you know.
Sure, and again, I will probably level to level 5 here, just because it gives you better odds at getting additional Kog'Maws and Zeris and Scars.
Yeah. For a moment I got the Nocturne in case I wanted to do the automatic Nocturne, but then changed my mind.
Yeah, okay. And I'm sorry, what was I talking about before? Oh, I was talking about Smeech, that's right.
Yeah, the Ambusher Smeech.
So how Smeech works is when he casts his spell, jumps to the enemy with the least items that are 4 units away. Okay?
Okay.
So the main thing to keep in mind there is you want to have him not go on your carry.
Yeah.
So for example, let's say he's attacking Scar, and then he jumps, he would jump to your Zeri because Zeri doesn't have any items. Okay?
Yeah.
So the main thing is you want to make sure Zeri is not next to your Kog'Maw, because if he is next to your Kog'Maw, he would jump to your Zeri, kill your Zeri, and then start attacking your Kog'Maw. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's fine for this game, but in the future, just keep that in mind. Does that make sense?
So, yeah, he tries to attack backline a lot.
He attacks the backline with the least number of items.
Okay, so the weakest backline, basically.
Not necessarily backline, just 4 tiles within 4 tiles.
Yeah.
Okay? So he wouldn't jump on your Kog'Maw because your Kog'Maw has 2.5 items. But let's say your Zeri was next to your Kog'Maw. He would jump to your Zeri, kill your Zeri, and then start attacking your Kog'Maw because he's the closest thing.
Right.
So here you could have had like almost 50 gold. So it's very important that you sell to make as much gold as you can. Yeah. Oh, there's another Kog'Maw.
I'm just kind of figuring out what I want to do.
Yeah.
I ultimately keep a Moo in just because the Automata will help Kog'Maw.
So, okay, good. So here you put in Sunfire, which is good.
So,
Okay, that's fine. You could have also built a second Hextech Gunblade. It's probably not the best item, but eventually you could move it over to Zeri and then have double healing on your backline.
yeah.
So, but what you're doing here is fine as well.
Yeah.
Because I imagine you're probably looking for something like oh, you lost that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate. You're probably looking for like a bowl for a Ginsu's or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So talk me through your thoughts first of all.
Yeah, so my one-cost champions are, at this point, only my Amumu and Darius.
Okay.
So I don't really think that's... And one of them is already a 2-star. So...
So that's one way of looking at it. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. The other way to look at it is gain 14 gold and any one cost that you want.
Okay, I think I misinterpreted that augment then. When I heard gain a copy of each one-cost champion, I thought it was just the one costs on your board. I didn't realize it was every one cost.
Yes, it's one cost of everything. So you can read this as just gain 14 gold, right?
Okay.
If you sell everything. But let's say you had copies. If you had 2 Amumus or if you had 2 Dariuses.
It would instantly bring them up to 2-star.
Yeah, you can read it as upgrade your Amumu, upgrade your Darius, and gain 12 gold, okay?
Yeah.
So in the future, when you get this augment, think of it that way instead of however you read it, okay?
Yeah, so I'm mainly looking about trying to get stuff to strengthen up my cog. So I don't think Find Your Center would be helpful for that, as he's in the back corner, not in the center of the front row.
Yep.
And then for team gaming armor and magic resist for each unit that starts in the front 2 rows, that may have been nice just because I down the line have like a whole line of front row people. I don't believe I end up picking that one though.
Yeah, so lineup is to me definitely the right choice here. Okay, and let's talk through why. Do you know what Watcher gives you?
Wasn't it durability?
That's correct. So there's 3 ways of defense, right? There's durability, there's health, and there's magic resist. Resist, armor, and magic resist, right? So the best way to have the tankiest front line is by kind of finding a balance between these 3. Okay.
So when you have more Watchers, you're just gonna get more durability because of that. So then this helps on top of it by giving armor and magic resist.
That's correct. So if you're playing Sentinel, which gives you armor and magic resist, you want to build health and durability, right?
Makes sense.
If you're playing Bruiser, which gives a lot of health, you want to play durability and armor.
Yeah.
And if you're playing Watcher, which gives you durability, you want health and resistances, so armor and magic resist. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So lineup would have stacked really, really well with Watcher. If you did have Sentinel, lineup would lose some of its value because Sentinel already gives so much armor and magic resist,
Yeah.
Like for example, let's look at a Sentinel. So Sentinel gives you 42 armor and magic resist times 3. So 126 magic resist and armor. What's another 10 armor and magic resist when you already have 126 additional armor, right? So lineup works best for Watchers and Bruisers, but not necessarily Sentinels. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that would have been really good here.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So let's keep on looking.
Yeah, that could have been a good one to do. I ultimately, I believe, pick what I roll here.
So talk me through your thoughts here.
So at this point, so part of the reason I was going back and forth between my board was that I was seeing if I needed to duplicate anything. So if like a lesser champion duplicator would be helpful. I didn't want to do the whole thing of just standing next to one other ally, especially because I have snipers that have to be on like opposite ends of the board.
I mean, okay.
I ultimately do end up picking health as well.
So bulky buddies, I agree that's not a good choice, but not for the reason that you said, right?
Okay.
Bulky buddy is really strong actually, but it doesn't work well with Garen, right?
Yeah, because he has to be between.
Yeah, he has
People.
to be between two people. So once you get Garen, which I'm sure you will later in the game, you will lose either value from not having bulky buddy, or you will lose value by not having Garen next to two people, right?
Yeah.
Health is wealth is fine, but Omnivamp doesn't really benefit you that much, right?
Okay. Remember what Omnivamp is? Is it just another form of health or?
Omnivamp is lifesteal, okay?
Okay, so like what Hextech helps with.
Yes, exactly. So because you already have a hex tech, health is wealth has diminishing returns, right?
Okay.
Team building is actually extremely good here. This is probably the best one for you here. And the reason is you can get a duplicator right now and immediately get a 2-star Kog'Maw. And that 2-star Kog'Maw will allow you to win throughout this entire stage, okay? So one thing people do when they get champion duplicators is they like save it. They save it for when they get 3-star or something like that.
And that's what I was thinking of doing.
That's fine. That's one way to look at it. But another way to look at it is it allows you to win the next 5 rounds for free immediately.
That's true, too.
Right? And if you win 5 rounds for free immediately, you get way more gold. And when you get way more gold, it's much easier to roll the units that you want.
Yeah.
So you lose one duplicator, but you get win streak for the rest of the stage, basically. Does that make sense?
That's true.
So I would have picked champion duplicator. Health is wealth is okay here. Oh, well, you got super lucky. Never mind. Yeah. Just kidding. So again, here, generally on 3-2, we want to level up. Let's see if you do or not. Personally, I would have probably leveled up and put Swing in there for Conquer.
Oh, yeah, true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's true. Who could have been just like a temporary person in.
Yeah. I guess there is an argument for not leveling up right now, and that is that you lost the last 2 rounds, which means if you level up, you're kind of... you're not going to continue your lose streak.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So here, I'm sure you level up. That's fine. Personally, I would have probably rolled. Okay, yeah, you're rolling. Good job.
So that's as you see, I knew I had 3, so I was just kind of reminding myself of who.
Yeah.
Who do I need next? So I decided like, let me just level up, roll a Silsec, and ideally find a Vander or a Vlad.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice.
As you see, I moved the Sunfire Cape to Scar.
Mm-hmm. So again, you won the last round, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you lost the last round. If you did lose the last round, you would have had a 3 lose streak. At that point, I would have just saved my money. Because if you kept on losing, it's not exactly a bad thing. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah. So here, okay, you probably wanted the bow. The bow is gone.
Actually, I wasn't thinking about the bow.
Okay,
at
that's
the
fine.
moment.
Yeah.
I knew I needed one more Vander to go to 2-star Vander, so that's why I picked that.
Yeah.
And he had a cloak, and as you can see, I have way more items in my back as opposed to my front.
Yeah.
So I just did that and put the cloak on Scar.
Yeah, I think that's completely reasonable.
And I just did 1 notch leveling up.
Yeah. So here's a little positioning thing, okay? So you have a Scar, and Scar has a Sunfire Cape.
Mm-hmm.
And what Sunfire Cape does is every 2 seconds, you burn someone, right? You burn someone within a 2 hex radius.
Yeah.
So you have him on the very side, which is okay right now, but he's actually only a 1-star, right? You have a 2-star Darius, and you have a 2-star Amumu now, and you have a 2-star Vander. So again, he burns every 2 seconds, but that's only when he's alive, okay?
Yeah.
When he dies, his Sunfire Cape no longer burns people anymore. Okay?
Yeah.
So by keeping him on the side, he actually dies first, which you don't want because you want more value from your Sunfire Cape.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's actually better currently, like once he's 2-star and more tanky, it's fine. But it's better currently to put like a Darius on the side, which kind of protects him a little and it makes sure that he stays alive and can burn people as long as possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the Darius as a. I know I'm about to go up to 7 soon, so like a brief putting him in for Conqueror.
Sure. Or Draven, you mean?
Draven, that's what I meant. Yes.
Yeah. Just make sure you're pre-leveling, right? So here you could be level 7. You see that?
Well, I did pre-level before, you know, in the sense that it went down to 51, and then I did gain more gold during the round.
Yeah. Just in the future, if you gain that gold, you can level right then, right? If you level right then, you would have had one extra shop that was...
Yeah, and you see I get an early guarantee.
Yeah, that's very good.
I think I don't put him in until a bit later, but
So,
I do have him now.
Sure, and that's one thing that we talked about before, right? If you have a 2-star 1 cost and a 1-star 4 cost, which one is better? In general... Oh, okay. So let's talk through this. Well, first of all, generally you want the 1-star 4 cost.
Mm-hmm.
That is generally better than a 2-star 1 cost. Okay?
Yeah, so putting him over like Darius in this case, which I think is what I do.
Okay. Yeah, and the way to compare, remember, is by looking at their HP. So you could have pulled the Darius back onto the bench and then compare Garen's HP to Darius' HP. Okay?
Yeah.
And also, Garen gives you Emissary, which is another trait, so Garen would always be better.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk through these. What are your thoughts currently?
So, none of these are particularly appealing to me at this moment. So, so I do end up rolling them all.
So let's talk through these. Mace's Will is actually not bad.
I did think about it, especially because it has a speed and critical strike.
Yeah. And also the Sparring Glove is pretty good on Zeri as well.
Yeah.
Right, so that's one thing. Mentorship would be good if you were Zeri carry. Okay? Because if you're a Zeri carry, you could put your Kog'Maw next to your Zeri. And it doesn't even matter that they're next to each other. Do you know why? It doesn't matter because Zeri is a firelight. So she'll
zap around anyway.
Yeah, she'll just fly away, basically, after a few seconds.
Yeah.
So let's say you were playing Zeri carry. Mentorship would have actually been really great, especially since you have Garen as well.
Yeah.
So you could have a Garen in the center with Scar next to him and, Vlad next to him as well. And then you could have had Vander to the other side of Scar to get value from Scar. And then you could have Darius and Amumu next to the Vander and the Vlad to get value off of them, right? Mm-hmm. So Zeri carry, mentorship would have been good. But here I agree because you're carrying Kog'Maw. It's not the best.
Mm-hmm.
Pandora's item doesn't matter because you have like perfect items right now. So that would be a waste. So I would have rolled the second and the third. Which it looks like what you're doing as well.
I ended up rolling the first one too, but Mace's Will would have been a good option, honestly.
Yeah. And here I agree with your choice. Firelight is really good here. Mm-hmm. And the reason why Firelight is really good is because it heals. Every time you dash, you heal a lot of health. And it works very well with Watcher. Remember what I said about Watcher working well with extra health and extra defenses? Yeah,
so Firelight is also basically restoring health every time they dash.
Yeah, it's basically you restore like you can think of it as a redemption, right? Every time you dash, you get a redemption proc. Okay, so that actually would have been really good. Golden Find is a little far away. I probably wouldn't have. Oh, actually, it gives like 10 free rerolls, which is really good, and you're actually pretty close to COG 3. So Golden Fine actually would be a big consideration for me here as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if you can get COG 3 and then you evolve him, he's going to get you a lot of gold later on. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
And then support items are actually really good as well, okay? Specifically, there are a few. There's Locket of the Iron Solari. Let's look at them really quick. Right. So we have Locket of the Iron Solari, which would give allies shield, armor, and magic resist. Okay. That would have been really good for your whole front line.
Yeah.
Let's see what other items there are. So let's look at support items. You have Chalice of Power, which gives ability power and mana to people that are around the holder. That would have been acceptable in the back, giving your Kog'Maw even more damage. You have Zeke's Herald, which gives attack speed to your backline, which again would have been good for your Kog'Maw and your Zeri. You have the Arges of Legion, which gives attack speed, armor, and magic resist, which would have been good for your front line as well as for Kog'Maw if you place Kog'Maw directly behind. Okay?
Yeah.
So these items would have actually been really good. What else would have been good? Needlessly Large Rod gives you damage amp that scales up to 20% damage amp. That's also very good. You survive for a very long time, so this would have been good because it would have allowed you to deal 20% extra damage. Something like Moonstones would also be good. It grants a shield to the 2 lowest percentage allies. This would have kept your team alive for a lot longer. And then Knight's Vow gives you some health and some omni-vamp. But regardless, the point is there's actually a lot of good support items that would have worked well with your team here.
Yeah.
So that would have also been a contender. I think all 3 of these are fine, to be honest. Firelight, I would have considered more if your Zeri was more itemized, but I think it's still a good choice here. Okay?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. And you get very lucky and get an Echo immediately. Okay, nice.
So I actually put him in over the Draven.
Yeah. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, that's completely fine. Okay. Yeah, I think you're doing well. The only thing is just putting the Gary in, like I said.
Yeah. He comes in at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, and look at how healthy your Vander is, right? Like your Vander was just healing back HP from Firelight, so it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And the other thing about Firelight is that you get a huge boost in attack speed when you get Firelight 4. So you could, like at this point, I was seriously considering itemizing my Zeri. Because I think your Zeri is probably stronger than your Kog'Maw right now. So let's maybe look at the damage chart and see. Let me see if I can pause it at the damage chart. Okay. So you have a 3-item Kog'Maw and you have a 1-item Zeri. And your Zeri is doing as much damage as your Kog'Maw already.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So 4 Firelights is really strong because every time they dash, they get a huge burst of attack speed.
Yeah.
So I would have seriously considered itemizing my Zeri and getting her 3-star as well. Okay? And also, this patch, Zeri is like pretty strong. They gave her a decent buff, which makes her pretty powerful now.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts here in terms of items?
I'm also thinking I was thinking bit between itemizing Zeri and also just putting more defensive items. I don't remember what I picked, so let's see.
Okay.
yeah, I ended up getting Dolores with the chest.
That's completely fine. Again, like I taught you, you have 4 completed items in the back, and you have 1.5 completed items in the front. So I think that was perfectly fine. Echo. Okay. Yeah, this is good.
So I'm not sure if it's this round or the next one that I do
Put the Garen in. Yeah. Yeah. That's okay.
It's one of them that I think I remember he has Emissary, so he should go in.
Yeah.
I think my issue was that I know that I don't think I wanted to take out the Amumu just yet, just because he had the Automata to help Kog'Maw.
That's fine, but you would have taken out Darius. You wouldn't have taken out a Mumu, right? Or I guess
Yes,
Vander.
well, I'd already taken out Darius, I guess, but I guess...
Vladimir.
Yeah, I think... So yeah, I actually just put Kog'Maw for this
That's
anomaly.
Completely fine, yeah.
So, I usually always take a look at their spells again before I do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah,
Yeah.
that's when I put him. And
Yeah, so here it's very good to put Firelight on Garen. Because Garen has he'll just stay alive forever basically. If you put all 3 of these items on Garen, he's unkillable, you know?
mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's okay. I think one thing is just think about who the best holder of different emblems are. I think Vander is fine as a temporary holder, but the best person would be Garen, right? Because Garen has so much resistance and tankiness, and Firelight would just make him go over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
So I think at this point, I think I'd gotten rid of the Echo just because I figured as I level up more, it'll probably be easier to find more of him.
Sure.
So I was like, let me just get rid of him for now.
So what can you see as a mistake here? So your whole bench is filled, okay?
Well, yeah, then it doesn't give space for
Yeah.
new people.
Yeah, because you could get, like, all of these gray orbs, they turn into gold. That could have been a Kog'Maw 3, you know? So I probably, yeah. So like you did, you sold the Vander. I probably would have sold him, like, earlier to...
Yeah.
Yeah. Be able to do something. Okay, so sure, I think that's fine. I probably would have got the sword to get Infinity Edge, just because, like I said, Zeri is like doing as much damage as your 3-item carry. So imagine how much damage she would do if she had items as well. You know
So
what I mean?
now I just got 3-star Cog.
Yeah. So let's look at this fight actually. Okay. Sorry. Let's go to the beginning of the fight. So we can slow it down a little bit. If we look at the Smeech, he jumps over, and now he's on your Amumu, okay?
Yeah.
And now when he kills the Amumu, I guess he attacks your Garen. But he's more likely to jump to your backline now, right? If your Amumu was on the other side, he would have been on this side, and your Kog'Maw would have stayed alive a little longer. I don't think it would have mattered here, but it's something to think about when you're playing against a Smeech, okay?
Yeah.
You want to stack all of your people without items on one side of the map to force Smeech to stay on that side of the map, keeping your main carry free. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like you're probably looking for Scar 3, as well as Zeri 3, as well as Vander 3. I think that's fine. Yeah.
I think at a certain point, I had kind of just given up on the idea of a Vander 3.
Yeah, I think you could have made an argument for leveling up versus looking for Scar 3. Obviously, Scar 3 would allow you to be the strongest that you can possibly be. But if you leveled up twice and are level 9, you can put in 6 Watchers, which would also make you very tanky, right?
Yeah.
So I think you looked around you saw that no one else had any scars, and that's why you're deciding to like stay and reroll for Scar, right?
I at this point was thinking more of re-rolling for Zeri, but I mean getting Scar was also part of it.
Okay, yeah.
Because yes, at this point I mean yeah, they do have a few scars. I was a bit ahead, though obviously I have like two stars.
Sorry. Yeah, I will reroll at this point as well, actually. Again, Zeri is very good with 4 firelights.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think you're doing very well now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess it actually says up there that Firelight is one of the best items on Garen. I didn't even notice that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts here in terms of items?
So, again, like kind of wondering whether more defense things or things to itemize Zeri. I was definitely eyeing the last Whisper that's on Mundo.
Okay, that would have been good. But also, building up your Garen would also be very, very good here. So, yeah, I would have definitely gone for the Warmonks.
So, I ultimately decided Redemption because, again,
Yeah.
more items up there than up at the back in the back rows rather than up front.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we're putting Firelight on Garen, which is very good.
And then, yeah, we're looking through the options for health, and Dragonclaw gave the most.
Yep.
So the other two items we put on Scar.
Yeah, I think that's completely fine. You actually don't want Gargoyles on Garen because Garen's never the solo frontliner. You always want to put people next to him, which means there's not that many people to auto attack him.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and
Okay.
now there I got 3-star Scar.
Nice. So yeah, here. Okay, so you just level up. You can put in 6 Watchers
Yeah.
if you want it. But I almost would leave the 4 Firelights because the 4 Firelight is a lot stronger. It actually makes your Garen and your Scar very strong,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. As well as your Zeri. Granted that she doesn't have that many items right now. So yeah, I think you're absolutely destroying everyone, which is great. And the other nice thing about having Sunfire Cape on your Scar is your Scar actually just dashes around, right?
Yeah.
And that's super nice because he will spread Sunfire to the people that he dashes to.
Yeah.
So he can actually dash to people in the back line. Because how Sunfire Cape works, or how Burn works, is Burn can only be on one character once. Does that make sense? It doesn't like have 2 burns at any time. It just refreshes the duration of the burn.
Yeah.
So if you have already burned some of the people in the front line, and now you dash the back line and you're burning even more people, that's really good. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here again, I probably would go with like a Ginsu's for, okay, it looks like that's what you're doing. Good. So I'm very curious. Let's compare next battle. You have a 2-star Zeri and a 3-star fully itemized Kog'Maw that has the anomaly on it. I still think your Kog'Maw will do more damage, but I think Zeri is going to be not too far behind. Let's see how it goes. Okay, let's speed it up again. Okay, well, that doesn't count. She died early. Wait, that okay, I want to redo. That one wasn't fair. Yeah, let's look for a fight where they both stay alive and then compare their damage according to each other. So here I would have definitely leveled up, right? Because if you leveled up, you would have got 6 Watchers. The other alternative, like you're doing right now, is to re-roll for a 3-star Zeri and then level up. So I actually think that's the best decision because that allows you the highest chance of getting Zeri, right? So let's look at their damage charts now. I have a feeling that Zeri is going to do about as much damage as the Kog'Maw. Okay, so you're reading it, right? So let's see. So look at that. Your 2-item Zeri did more damage than your fully itemized Kog'Maw with anomalies on him. Okay? And it's because you have 4 Firelights in. So that's how strong 4 Firelights is. Okay?
Yeah.
So just make sure you keep that in mind in the future. If you get Firelights, it's probably better to itemize the Zeri than the Kog'Maw.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So as of right now, I think you're pretty much done. Like your team is complete. There's no one else to put in other than maybe like a 6 cost. I guess you can put in like, I don't know, like a powder. A powder will give you scrap and ambusher, which I guess would be nice. As well as if you got your Echo to 2-star. But for the most part, you have no more need for your for your gold, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just look at how tanky this Garen is. He's completely full health.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here, it's actually pretty interesting. You actually don't want... Okay, yeah, that's actually correct, right? So you don't want a completed item. And the reason is because you have a fist. By some lucky chance, you have a fist, which is great because that allows you to give you another Firelight. And you can kind of think of Firelight as a additional tanky item. It also provides amazing stats in terms of attack because it allows you to get like a 35% attack speed bonus or 33%, I believe. Yeah. So one thing you could have actually done here is you could have put the Firelight Spad on Kog'Maw and then gave another Hextech to Zeri, okay?
Yeah.
That would allow you to have a 3-item Zeri. Okay, it looks like you won, so it doesn't matter. Regardless, you got first place, so really good job. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And also, it looks like you got promoted to gold.
Yay.
So congratulations, you're in gold now.
Yeah.
I think we set plat as your goal for the end of the season, so... One more climb and you'll be in plat 4. So that's very exciting. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts for things that you learned or anything in general?
Yeah. I mean, I think the augments that we discussed, like, I was generally pretty happy with my decisions, but it was nice to think about what alternatives could have been better as well.
Sure. Yeah. Good job. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. If there was something I missed, please also let me know. Looking forward to talking to you guys in the future. Thank you. Bye.